Hello, everybody. um, I'm live here. I'm here in my new Jeep Gladiator, in the parking lot here where I have my hotel, and I wanna set the record. I want to tell the story and set the record straight once and for all about what happened in Norway and why I had to leave. And everything's fine. But I just want to tell the story once and for all, so everyone, so the rumors stop. And we now have Tove Lo, we have Katy Perry, both doing music videos that are inspired basically by my story in one way or the other. So it's a pretty big deal, me going to Norway, buying a building, starting an art gallery. I included lyrics because I was doing artwork inspired by musical artists like Tove Lo. Katy Perry must have caught on to it all. Tove Lo was interacting with me through Instagram, with the mini videos that last for 24 hours in many other ways. If you watch her new music video wearing the jean jacket that's really long, she's using that as a reference to being really tall like me, being in Norway. She's actually making fun of, in her own way, of it sounds like she's making fun of women and or men and loving somebody. Jeanette, with Jeanette Fishing, I saw her, I met her one time for 15 minutes when I first came to Norway in March. We had a very nice, pleasant meeting. I gave her tiles eventually before I left. Never talked to her again. Again, basically not at all. I returned to Norway having almost no contact with Jeanette at all, but I returned to this town after the people in the town encouraged me to come back after I started the process through Norway's UDI, which is Norway's immigration system. I returned to Norway in May to begin the process of searching for a building while I was going through the UDI process of immigration. I was being supported by several community members that were part of large investment kind of realtor style people and community support group that called the ODA Business Garden. They were helping me through this pathway to find a the beginnings of my new business. The woman Jeanette, she was very nice to me when I came and met her, and we went for a walk like anyone would do when you're meeting someone for the first time. I saw her for 15 minutes. I was interested in her. I was attracted in her. It wasn't a mystery. It's a process to meet anybody, whether you're meeting them in the United States or if you're meeting them anywhere. It's a process to meet someone. It doesn't just happen overnight. The older you get, we're in a new day and age where we have the internet. People are learning how to navigate this whole system. I'd been going to Norway for 10 years, was very serious about spending time in Norway. So I went. Okay. So I went to Norway, and I made friends with the Business Garden. I made friends with this group that was an investment style kind of multi-functional group that helped people with accounting and all kinds of things. They learned about me. The whole community in many ways knew that I was there. They knew that I was interested in this girl, but like I said, it's one of these things where everyone knows that I met this girl who was fishing, and she was the one who it was all she was. I went there because I discovered this town, and the opportunity to start a business was there. I had met this girl. I was interested in her also. When we went on that first hike, she made 2 or 3 comments to me that indicated that she was interested in starting a relationship with me. She made comments about September. Because she knew I always came to Norway in September. She made comments about the glaciers in September. She made comments about her physical attributes because she wanted me to know that she had really good genes. She said she was telling me a couple of her only kind of genetic problems were that she had something to do with her eyesight or something at night or something. And I didn't ask about any of that. She volunteered that information right as we were departing. It was almost like she was wanting me to know that she's interested in me, and that she wanted me to know that, that she could have children, kind of such. Those were her little clues she gave me, because like I said, these aren't things this was like a very chance encounter. She didn't know if I was going to come to Norway or not. She didn't know if I was going to make that trip there, and I did, and I made the tiles. So again, it's not this situation like we can imagine a lot of situations being where you fall in love and you go out to eat and everything's all, how we think about it happening in the movies. This was a situation that was very, baby steps. It happened baby steps. But it was me. It was me the one that had to make the move, had to to make it happen, because she was involved with fishing and I wanted to come to Norway. So this was an opportunity that happened for me. So I went to Norway. So I went to back home, United States. I spent maybe a month back in the United States, began the process with UDI, bought my ticket. It felt like this is what the encouragement, this is where I wasn't sending letters back and forth to Jeanette at all. Like I said, I've learned to communicate with Norwegians, with many people, and it didn't require lots of messages at all. It didn't require lots of letters, lots of messages or anything. I just knew what she told me when I met her. I delivered the tiles to her. I delivered the tiles to her son. She didn't come out to meet me when I gave the tiles. She told me that she was sick. She left as soon as after I met her, she left on a fishing excursion up in northern Norway. I spent the whole time in Oda learning about the community. Instead of leaving and doing something else after meeting her, after coming to the town for the first time, I felt like I need to stay here and learn about this community. And it seems like, like I said, this is the baby step thing. We're all getting to know me for the first time. So, but back in the United States, and I have to post about this on Facebook so that people in Norway can see what I'm doing. But then in the people in the United States, they ask all those questions that people start reading. And then the rumor mill starts growing. And the people that are out that don't want me to be successful, the people that just would rather make fun of me and find things that are wrong with what I'm doing, say that I'm a racist because I want to go back to Norway to find someone who I can relate to more with my heritage, and then people turn that into a racist thing. Especially this was happening during the Trump election. It all was bad timing for many reasons, but it was something that I had started back in 2010. I had spent years getting ready for doing this. So then a lot of people that were jerks and assholes, get onto my page and start writing things, asking stupid questions, putting pressure on people. Why don't we see you with her? All these things that were very old people who don't even understand what it's like to try to meet people on Facebook anymore, doing things that were just disruptive to my friendship. And I'm trying to communicate back and forth. Well, then some people will say, well, why didn't you make a group then that was separate? Because this was a slow process. As soon as you make a group on Facebook, you have to see everyone who's there. And then everyone's there in a big list, and people don't want to be anonymous. They want to learn about, and that's why I have an open profile. That's why you can come onto my page and look at me without being my friend, because I want an open profile. I want to be completely an open book. I want to be, complicit with everyone's wondering about who I am. And still, there's people that had to get on my page and they have to open up their big mouth and ask stupid questions. And some people don't understand and are naive to it. I am aware of that. But then some people are malicious in doing it and just don't want to see me be successful. Some people made fun of Jeanette and the color of her hair and all kinds of things. Jerks, very, very jerk kind of people. I remember all of you. And, it was really, and it's something that I had started and worked so hard to do. You can imagine, well, how did I not get so upset? It was just so typical of what to expect from people on Facebook, and the way our country has become in many ways, and how some people, it's like high school all over again, never ends. The people that are jerks in high school mostly remain jerks as they get older. And, and now when it has affected me in such a way, I have no problem calling you people out that do that, and the damage that you do, not only to me, you do damage to other people in other places, serious damage, emotional damage. And all I was doing was good things on my page, my personal page that I chose to have open to the public because, I'm trying to meet people. I want to have a family someday. So I deliver the tiles to Jeanette's son. Jeanette didn't come out to meet me. Again, it's one of these things. They don't know who I am, if I came, a lot of guys would maybe get frustrated and mad because Jeanette didn't want to, or whoever it may have been, didn't want to go on a hike with me. Or, I came all the way from the United States and she only met me for 15 minutes. In many ways, that could be very romantic, and to build the suspense and build it and see if he comes back or not. She gave me a taste of her and what possibly what I could get. What did you think I was going to, in one hand, what should I have been given the whole plate right off the start? They'd never even met me before. See, I understood all this. That's why I kept doing it. But then you idiots, some of you people out there that don't want to be sensitive, who probably have gotten divorces and have all kinds of problems, you guys would say things that slowly eroded away what it was I was doing that was good in many ways. You skewed the truth. You laughed at me because you never even asked me why I did these things, because I couldn't talk about these things because it was a developing relationship. It was a developing friendship. And as soon as you start talking about that, it kind of damages that development. But this is the way it works now with social media. So I had to post about it, and you had to see it, but you wondered. Some of you wondered and wanted to know more and more about it. So this whole narrative kind of was created that wasn't, none of it was based on anything factual. It was all rumor mill kind of gossip bullshit. And people fuel off of that. That's what they want. They want that because they don't want what I'm working to striving for, what I've worked so hard for. So, what has led me to Norway, that's how dastardly it is living in a small community, people ripping each other apart, just waiting for someone to do something that isn't quite normal so that person is no longer, that person's, gross or, screwed up in some way. So now the politics involved with that person pushes them out of the way. That's just how it works, just to rip people down to finally. It's just nasty small town kind of political corruption. I'm talking about the United States here in my town, in many ways. So I go to Norway for the second time. The community members saw my seriousness after they knew I went there the first time. They met with me. They showed me several different options of several different buildings. The reality that this could really happen I didn't even know. This isn't something that is like played out in a rule book when you go there to buy a building. It was a very first time kind of thing. It's a very touchy-feely kind of give and take. Okay, what is this? What are my intentions? What do I want? How much money do I have? These are the things why I was posting things about how much money I had. Because if no one had any clue about how much money I had, it's a possibility of me being offered a building that was maybe a little bit more exciting, a little bit more valuable. They may not even have thought to do that because they had no clue who I was. So you see, I can't post and tell you guys that this is why I'm showing you guys how much money I have, because I'm a modest person. I was driving around a truck. I didn't own a big fancy house. I wasn't married. I'm a 39-year-old who's single with no kids. I'm kind of a question mark. Well, what's going on with this guy? Well, I live in a small town. I've told you guys this a million times. So eventually they see the truth. Many of them see the truth in that want to sell me this building. I sit down in meeting rooms with people that had prepared, presentations showing my artwork. They had gone on my website and taken a lot of time to show me that they had looked at my work, and they were projecting it out on a screen. We sat down up in the desks. They talked about the potential of things. The woman involved in the whole situation, the person that was with the fishing, she wasn't around for any of this. She wasn't ever a part of any of this. I saw her 3 times the whole time I was there. In May. I saw her on May 17th and I was encouraged. I was staying at the Hardanger Hotel for a month. They never gave me 1 day free. They didn't have any laundry facilities offered for me, nothing. I was running around the town every single day, following up leads, preparing to buy a building, doing paperwork, driving to Bergen, getting photographs taken, writing essays about myself. In the evening, I would go out and go hiking. I would go fishing. I remember one time someone kept pressuring me to go fishing, and I got upset because I felt like I had to do these other things. So, I started going fishing. So this is what I'm talking about. You guys were all sending me all these comments and it was difficult for me to try to figure out what was the most important thing for me to do. Because, this all started from a very simple, very friendly meeting with 2 very nice people another picture I had to take down of me and her standing on a rock above a lake. Very beautiful day, very memorable day for me. You ever thought about that? My memories about those things and how much that meant for me? To meet someone for the first time like that? Seriously, man. Some of you guys are evil that got into my life. That was one of the greatest days of my life, man. You guys ruined it. And so as soon as I get there, May 17th rolls around, and I made 30 tiles of her. Flew all the way to Norway to give them to her. And some people say I'm a stalker. Have we lost our minds? Have we lost our minds? She agreed to meet me? Have we lost our minds? Stalker. Have we lost our minds? So, I'm staying at the Hardanger Hotel for a month, and I make some strong friendships with people who are working there. Who May 17th rolls around. At this time, I still am thinking that I'm coming back to the United States. I'm thinking I'm going to buy this building and then come back to the United States and prepare for what's to come next. Well, several people in the community, after you buy the building, this whole kind of the ball starts rolling. Suddenly you start to realize that, and then in communicating with the people back at home, not to mention I had some devastating things happen while I first started this. One of my employees' daughters died, who was after I had bought my ticket to come back to Norway in May and made the tiles of Jeanette. My employee's daughter died, who was like the main kind of manager of the gallery in Sutton's Bay, who had long-term plans to work for me, and then her daughter died. And the father of her daughter's 1-year-old child is incapable of raising the child. So now my employee has to leave the business while this thing was happening for me finally after coming to Norway for 9 years. So my mom steps in to help. The business would have held together, but my mom, bless her heart, she even comes in to see how difficult it all of a sudden had become. And she starts to manage things. I didn't ask her. She knew that was the best thing to do. I was prepared to handle it, whatever had to happen, but I was encouraged to stay in Norway. I didn't think I was going to be there for the whole summer. I didn't know what was going to happen. It was all a question mark. It was all a question mark. Now, don't forget, Tovlo and Katy Perry are now making songs inspired by this. And this is what I had to go through for their inspiration. Okay? So, and it's not, their stories are all inspirations in their own creative way. It's not like a story that tells what happened to me, but it's about what happened with me. That's where they got their inspiration from. This was a huge thing that happened with me. So I end up it slowly kind of becomes apparent that I'm going to be staying in Norway the whole summer. And of course, I'm just blown away. It's so amazing. I'm hiking in the mountains. Okay, so again, let me take you back to that first meeting I had with Jeanette. She mentioned September. She mentioned her genes. She mentioned on her own. She mentioned her eyesight, some problem she had with her eyesight. What she was doing was she was telling me that she's interested in me and possibly having children, a family. She wanted me to know that she had good genes. Why else should I didn't ask her about those things. Why else should she tell me those? She's volunteered that right before we met. She hugged me goodbye. She liked my pictures while I was in Oda. She liked the pictures. She liked several pictures while I was in Oda. But I wasn't stalking her. I'm getting to that. Why weren't we dating? Why weren't we hanging out at the restaurants? Why weren't we doing all these things that you guys all wanted to see? Just, and then vocalizing it, destroying the relationship that was growing is what you were doing. You were destroying it. You destroyed it. Good job. So we weren't going out and doing things because I was there as an artist. On my own will, I came back in May. My drive, my willpower to come there and start this before September was so strong that I immediately went to the business garden in Oda. They prepared for me to come there. Now, if Jeanette, we had met 15 minutes. If maybe over this time she didn't want to have a relationship with me other than maybe just a simple friendship, if that. That's fine. I still have to figure that out. I can't just not do anything. But at the same time, this opportunity happened for me to start this business in Norway. And it's something that I had been dreaming to do, so why not do it? So Jeanette happens to be there too. Of course, I'm still interested in her. I was carving tiles of her fishing expeditions while I was there to start, doing a variety of tiles, might I add, not just about her. Lots of different things I was doing tiles about. So then imagine all the people in her town, the gossip and the rumorville, the destruction, the relationship destroyers. Just like back in my hometown, do the same thing there. They start saying things to Jeanette, making her probably feel insecure of her friendship that's growing with me. Just like how people back here call people stalkers and people think it's weird when you meet people on the internet. The same thing happens back in Norway. They think it's weird. So then all of a sudden I do something no one else has done because I actually prepared for it. I actually saved the money. Was one of the few people in the whole goddamn world that has ever been able to do that or have the willpower to do it, does it. And because it's so surprising and because, even though the paper in Oda did a front page story on me, and then you still have people that are jealous, that don't like me, that probably don't like Americans, that probably are closed-minded people. There's a lot of smart people in Oda. There's a lot of talented people in Oda. There's a lot of people that care about history and care about their town. And all kinds of people are in Oda, just like there are here. Well, they do the same thing there as they do here. And, they probably put pressure on Jeanette, made her feel insecure, made her feel like I was weird, made her feel like I wasn't going to get a residency. They probably were not encouraging her, not wanting to help her, not wanting to support our relationship whatsoever. I didn't see really. Some people I felt like there was some support there. Many people made fun of Jeanette. When I first told some people that when I went there were several people when I first got there and I was telling people how, because they wanted to know how I knew about it, and I told them it was because I met Jeanette. And a lot of them kind of went, Jeanette, because I didn't even know she liked to fish up until 2 years ago. That's what some of these people would say. I didn't care about that. The girl liked to fish. She had an interesting Facebook page. She looked outgoing. There was an intelligence about her that was different than others and people's intelligences that I was attracted to. So that's what started the initial interest. That's why I went through all the effort to make 30 tiles of her and posting it on Facebook, and she was liking them, and she agreed to meet me. This was all a slow rolling process. This wasn't some fast hookup on a dating site. This was something that had taken months of planning. But it's not something that everyone in the town knows about. No one in Oda knew who I was. It was a slow rolling process. No one even knew if I would show up or any of these things. I had to continually press the issue. I had to send repeated messages to the business garden in Oda. After I came back to the United States. Before they would respond. And then they see, well, he really is serious. People don't want to move until you make them move sometimes. And like I said, I'm such a rare person to do what it was I did that it was even less expected that I was going to do it. And that had nothing to do with why I did it. I did it because I was excited to do it, as my pictures show. So once I start getting there are some people that are really friendly with me and that supported me in many ways. And for instance, May 17th comes around, which is Norway's Independence Day. And I didn't know what to expect. I was really excited to see what was going to happen. I didn't know what to expect. Okay, so I was encouraged, and I got the sense that they were encouraging me because maybe Jeanette would be there, kind of an encouragement, because I knew I was there to see her, or hopefully to see her. But again, I was in it to do it, no matter what happened with Jeanette or not. So I was encouraged to go up to the park area where they have the festivities for May 17th, and that led to me following the parade, taking videos of the parade, documenting it, which is what I'm a historian. That's what I've learned to do. I was an investigator. I take pictures of things. I know how to document things. I know that it kind of probably was weird for me to walking around with the people in the parades and stuff, but I wanted to catch it all. It was really exciting, and I felt comfortable to do it. And I knew that people would probably see me and be more comfortable knowing who I was to do that. It was all thought out of. I wanted people to get to know me because I knew it was going to be a challenge for them people to know me. So I get down there, and I immediately see Jeanette in she's serving hot dogs and Coke. I immediately see her. It's almost like I seriously was really attracted to her, and as a gentleman, 100% as a gentleman, and I get in line, and she sees me, and I immediately see that she's afraid that I'm going to be mad at her, because that's what most guys would have been, because of all the difficulty in communicating back and forth, and how that so easily breaks down when you do that, communicating in Messenger. It just breaks down so easy. It can be so easily a perfectly good friendship can just be destroyed by the stupid people. And I'm sure women are very sensitive to it, because there's so many guys out there that just say absurd things and don't have any intention of anything good. So it makes it even more difficult for me to start a friendship with them. And it's getting easier, but this is like a year and a half ago. Remember when everyone, talk about stalkers. Remember all the stalkers that people used to say was on Facebook, or how weird people would feel about a selfie. So, it's an evolving thing. So when I saw her in line, and then I'm sure she saw me, but when we finally made eye contact, she immediately, I could tell, needed to see that I was going to smile, because she probably felt bad or something, or felt like she probably thought I was going to be mean looking, because she probably couldn't believe that I was understanding. And I smiled at her, and I could immediately tell that was a relief to her, that she felt good about that. And that was a relief to me, because then I knew better that what I was thinking was true. I knew that this wasn't anything that was going to happen right away, but at least she was happy to see me. And after what she had said in March, I felt like that meant that I'm doing the right things. So I kept doing that. I got my hot dog from her. It was busy. I couldn't do much of anything else. Of course, I was wanting to go out and, go on and explore with her the countryside, but I didn't, and I didn't send her any messages or anything about any of this. I wasn't sending her messages while I was there or anything. There was just a general sense. I was communicating with her on the pictures she was posting of her fishing and the carvings I was doing. I was the little green light, and you could see who was following you. She was always right, the very number one person. I could tell that she was possibly even knew when I was waking up and going to bed, because you could see when she was online and offline. This was how we kind of were communicating. And it's not a perfect way. How can you not see that? So you could see that when I was online, she was online. And, of course there wasn't, you know how that goes. So she was interacting with me. I was interacting with her. So, but it wasn't like we were in any situation to start dating or going out or living together or any of that, or being seen in the town even, because then all of a sudden people start talking and then it can just get ruined. So this had to slowly unfold. But everyone back home, where is she? Where is she? And I had to sit there and be quiet and make up and say things to try to help you guys, because no one wanted to understand all this. No one wanted to understand all this. No one still haven't asked me. People want to say I'm a stalker. So stupid. Dumb. You guys need to grow up, man. And for all of you that identify the people I'm talking about, those are the ones that need to grow up. So I was still a little bit, after I met her and saw her, I didn't know yet all this stuff. I'm still learning, mind you. But I'm listening to her every single time to Jeanette, because there were messages that I had sent in March, and she let me know on a couple occasions, stop liking my pictures, or don't post that picture of you and I together as your profile picture. Immediately, every single time she asked me to do anything, I stopped doing it. I don't know if it's still documented in my things or not, but that's what I did. She didn't have to ask me more than once, ever. She remained my friend the entire time I was in Norway. Up until I'm getting there, up until I went to get the tattoo in Trondheim. She remained my friend on Instagram, on Facebook. She even continued. She never ever even blocked me from her Jeanette fishing page, ever. I was always she left me be on that. So you have to understand, with me, I'm a little bit, frustrated. Of course I want to do stuff with her. I want to start this relationship. It was supposed to happen. But I feel like I'm being tested the whole time. Everyone wants to see if I'm really serious. I'm really going to do this, and they're putting me through all the tests. Trying to, I'm not even going to begin to go and do all the tests that I was put through. Climbing mountains, wearing orange suits, unbelievable garbage. And then look at what it's got me. Some people are really... So, I'm going through all these tests. People are testing me to see how badly I really want this. I ended up buying the building, okay? So that first month of May, I'm learning, I'm trying to figure out this relationship that I want to have with Jeanette. It's not the end. It doesn't mean that my desire to have this building is going to stop or not. I'm still going to want my building no matter what, because I really care about Norway that much. And my passion about visiting and exploring the countryside, and this was the opportunity that happened. Nothing happened in Røros, nothing happened in Trondheim. This happened. So I took it. Why not? I was 40 years old. My employee's daughter just died unexpectedly with a child who was 1 year old. It was time to do it. I wasn't going to go back and try to rebuild and wait 2 or 3 years to get things. It was time for people to own up, and if they wanted to work for me, then they were going to make it happen. If they weren't, then I was going to take everything that I had, all my money, and just make it happen in Norway, no matter what. And what happened is what I thought would happen. They came together, they supported the business, and they made it through the summer. And now we're going on in our second summer. And they can handle it. And that's what I thought would happen. That's what happened. So again, I'm feeling out what's going on with Jeanette, and I have always been someone that writes letters. So this is back when I'm first in Oda for the first week or two. I brought a couple gifts I wanted to give her because I was thinking I was going to be going back to the United States. And I was going to buy the building and then prepare for the next leg of this. I didn't realize it was all going to happen and continue to happen. So seeing that Jeanette had given me these feelings that she wanted me possibly to feel like she wanted a relationship with me, that in that first meeting we had in March, I was prepared to leave her with some little special gifts that were supposed to be meant for kind of keepsakes to remind her of me in the event that I was going to have to leave after I bought the building. I bought her a tile of a seahorse. I bought a few things while I was in town that I wanted her to have. I gave her my t-shirt that I had worn on my hike to Trolltunga, that she had told me, she had sent me a text message telling me that she's so proud of me as soon as I got done with the hike. So I sent her the t-shirt that had been all sweaty. You know, there's many songs in Taylor Swift's music where she talks about getting, clothing from her, men and she's attracted to that, and how that's sexy to get someone's clothing. I've had girls send me their clothing before. So I'm trying to think of ways of keeping the friendship alive, keeping her attracted to me in this very difficult, time-consuming process of getting this business started that I'm learning about while I'm there. So I start out thinking I'm going to write her letters. And I wasn't and in the past, I've had people tell me that you can't expect anything back. You can't expect anyone to write letters back. And it's and some people like letters and some people don't. Again, I'm trying everything possible to make this happen because this is what I want to do. And she gave me every reason to believe that she was interested. So I started writing letters. For about a week, I wrote letters once a day. And I wrote half the letter in Norwegian. I wrote, because I wanted to show her I was practicing Norwegian. Again, she's still getting to know about me. I wanted her to see my intentions. The letters were all kind of about what I did that day, what I'm thinking about in terms of coming there, my excitement. They were all positive, nothing sexual, hardly anything. A couple times there was some kind of flirting, kind of like dreaming about kissing in Norwegian. Simply, that was it. I don't even know if I included anything like that, but I wanted to show her that I had kind of a exciting side when it came to, that part. But there was nothing explicit ever, nothing even close to that. It was all friendship. It was for her to get to know about me. And I sent a little gift. I sent her a little teeny Lego box that I bought. I sent her a book to write with, possibly a notebook. And I know that I wasn't, of course, these letters would either end or they would start something new. And I knew they would end somehow, like possibly she would write me back. Maybe she would send the packages back to me to the hotel. Then I would get the clue. None of that ever happened. She went on fishing trips all over the place while I was there during this. But in Norway, you can see at the post office the packages because they come into the grocery stores. So then I noticed that the packages weren't being picked up at one of the grocery stores. And, everyone's telling me, they usually come and get them another time, but they never were picked up. And then they get sent back to Bergen. Instead of going from the grocery store to my house 2 blocks away, they get sent back to Bergen, and then it takes like 3 weeks for them to come back to me. So I had to guess at some point that she wasn't picking them up for whatever reason. And since I hadn't done anything wrong, I told myself that she wasn't picking them up for a good reason. There was even a lady at the grocery store from Africa who noticed that she wasn't picking them up. She even told me that just because they weren't being picked up, she said that people do things for all different reasons. which is what I already had thought in my own head. I don't think anyone even thought I could think of the positive possibilities of that. I truly feel like those letters are probably in some way what screwed it up, because no one knew what it was I was thinking after having sent them and having them sent back to me. And I didn't post about it because I just didn't feel like it was appropriate. I kind of felt embarrassed for sending them at first, but then I realized that one of the women at the hotel